Two was this park, and as discussed prior to Christmas, was the every surplus property that we have, even Kugler, even though Kugler is deeded into the Board of Education's name, has got to go to be surplus and go before the county commission.
They have first right of refusal.
They have first right of refusal. They want option 2 to be that if Kugler falls through, which, as I said today during the meeting, we got a better chance of winning the lottery to get 23 names and 23 people, in my opinion. So that's the second design is back on your board docs with the twist. Jimmy Height has been keyed up to work with Wimco on the twist and the design, and to start moving forward with this since July, that we had promise after promise and emails, not just phone conversations. There was, as been told to in many board meetings prior to, of emails and votes that the city had to do such things. So we're going to need to switch to school. If you can see it, Pennsylvania Avenue is on your left. Pennsylvania Avenue is on your left. If you look really good in that bottom corner, you can see the grayed out areas of the buildings that would have to be relocated and moved. And Dr. Cheeseman can elaborate on where his staff would move in the interim or permanently as it gets moved.
Sure. So unfortunately, we would have to move the operations team. And so in short, we're looking at Building 10 of Eastern Elementary School, which is near 264, where Amber's team, technology, would shift to that building. Lisa Taylor, principal of Eastern, would collapse those classrooms into the building for next school year. It doesn't have to be done this school year, but in the summertime, we would make that move. Part of that is having the fiber moved, which is about a up to 90-day order and placement, possibly a $40,000 charge in that regard. And so we're looking at how do we actually take the entire district offline and not impact students. So that looks like a summertime change. In terms of school nutrition, not a bad movement, possibly in the Building 4 at the district office area, possibly in the JCT. You have 4 employees there who need to shift into offices. The biggest thing there is the district freezer, and so we're looking at a temporary tractor trailer for, freezer before we actually purchase a brand new freezer and put it in its final location, but potentially JCT, as in the long run, JCT, instead of donating that building back anywhere, you could actually use it as a district support center, meaning all of your operations could go back into it, your district personnel could go back into it. And then maintenance right now, we're looking at coming up into Building 4, back into the transportation area. Instead of going into the gate to the left where transportation would be, you would go into the gate and move right. Looking at temporary buildings there, or maybe permanent fixtures since our fuel depot is there, storage areas are there. So we have some things in place. Our operations team is currently working on some things. I've given them some tasks to complete in order to bring some data back to the table. But over the next month, we'll have an actionable plan in place for your review.
My understanding, the way I look at this, the actual design and layout of the school is not changing. It's just the position on the property.
Turn it there.
Right, the position of the school. And Mr. Rawls has walked in. I still have full confidence that Wimco's going to knock it out of the park and going to do a great job of building this beautiful new school. It's just going to just gonna be in a different position. Take a little longer and there'll be a delay, and some other things that I'm not gonna get into, but anyway, is what it is.
Anybody else got any questions? I gotta make a motion if we.
Do we have any estimates or any figures in mind as far as how long it's gonna add to the process, or
So
how much it's gonna cost in addition?
So the cost is more, and I know that's so general to say back, but we don't know right now, and we have a slated meeting with Site Associates and Wimco on Thursday at 1 o'clock to start putting timelines back together and have some general data collection around what cost may look like. In terms of timeline, Mr. Height projected 8 to 9 months for a redesign in terms of a site design that would then have to be approved again by the state of North Carolina. And then also just be mindful, the children have to come out of Eastern before you can knock it down, and there are no other places in this district to put all of those students throughout the year to knock it down any sooner. So your timeline has to brush up against the beginning of summer to take them out of the school to knock it down. So that's part of where our timeline was sitting and why we came to this moment in January when we wished we would have had that knowledge in July.
Go ahead, Ms. Booth.
Mr. Chairman or Dr. Cheeseman,
Sure.
could you explain to us the amount of property that we are talking about?
4 acres
Or less.
or less.
Can you explain to us what's on that property?
Grass.
Ditch.
The same thing that's been on the property for decades, nothing.
Well, you've maintained that property for over 40 years.
Just want to make sure that everybody know what we're talking about.
Can I just say one thing to you, and everybody else gets through?
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot coming at you, but remember, this design of the school we're talking about is a design we've had all along. I mean, this isn't like we're coming in here tonight saying we're gonna have a new design of a school. This is the design we've always
Right,
had.
it's the very same
As
way.
Carolyn said, it's not going, the school's still gonna be the school. It's just gonna turn, and as I told someone today, the school's, when it's built, the school is gonna be here for 50, 75 years, or ever how many. So I think it's very important that we do exactly what we're doing. If the city does not, if we cannot partner with the city, then it's very important that you take your time, get it right the first time. It is my understanding from what I learned today in talking to the various parties, the school hasn't even been fully permitted yet. So if you're gonna do anything to make it switch a little bit of a different way, now's your time. Go ahead and do it. Let's get it right the first time. I've even heard people out in the different commissions say, don't rush, take your time. That is exactly what this is about. Let's get it right the first time and go from there. And when the school is built, the school will be here for decades and decades and decades. And 50 years from now, nobody will ever know if the school was facing this way or that way.
Dr. Cheeseman, is there, I'm sorry, Ms. Booth, do we have to respond in some way to DPI about the delay?
Nope.
I know there's a timeline in which you must
2 years
use
from
those
February
funds.
7th.
Pardon me?
24 months from February 7th.
We're still good.
Yep.
We're still good.
24
We don't have
months
to be
from this
completed.
February?
Yes. From receiving the
No,
grant.
from last
From
February 7th.
receiving the grant.
So we're 1 year in, February 7th, so we got
You're fine.
another year to start
Fine.
construction.
You're fine.
To start
It's
construction,
not
not to
complete,
finish.
start.
It's not that. They don't care how
Well,
long
we
it takes you
might-
to build it.
We
They
might
just-
run up against that.
No, we're good.
No, we're good. We're gonna be way ahead of that.
We're good.
Way ahead of that.
I don't assume anything anymore.
Ms. Booth, I do now, because we're
Well,
working with
no,
people in this room
this-
that we control.
But the reason that I'm confident in this is because once it's finally been decided that we're not gonna have a partnership within the city, we are now controlling this building on everything that only you have to decide.
Yep.
So
This board
we're
decides.
good unless we come across something that the 9 of us can't agree with each other on, and I don't even worry about that.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Booth.
Mr. Chairman, I can't believe, I'm one person, but I think I'm probably thinking like a whole lot of people are thinking, but if not, it's still me, okay? I can't believe for the life of me that we've gone through this since July, and the city have known this since July, and we're talking about bringing a $50 million school into the city of Washington, North Carolina. Not about us, it's about the children, the students. And I just can't believe that they're not willing to give us a piece of land that they can't even use anymore. There's nothing can go on it. I'm glad, Mr. Lear, I'm so glad you're here, because I want you to hear this. It just doesn't matter that we are sitting here fussing over 3.5 acres,
There's 4 acres, just that we
34
needed.
acres of land that nobody can use. We only want a retention pond, is that right?
And a little bit of building.
Yeah, a little bit. And they are sitting there holding this property, has never done anything with it, and still not doing anything with it, and still can't do anything with it. We're gonna stop a $50 million school coming into their city.
No, they're not.
No, they're gonna stop.
No, they're not stopping this school. We're gonna build a
I'm
school.
talking about now.
I know
I'm
exactly
talking
what
about
you're
now.
saying.
That's
I
what I'm
know. I know what you're saying, but I don't want everybody to get the wrong idea. The school's gonna be built. It's gonna be built the correct way, and that's what's gonna happen. I
You
do
said that.
I
think
do
they
echo your
understand that.
sentiments.
I think they understand that, but I wanted also them to understand how I feel.
I echo your sentiments. It is concerning to me of the partnership, but I can, as your vice chair, I want to make sure you clearly understand. I laid it out very clear to them that this was can I say that?
Yes.
That I laid it out very clear to that meeting today, and these two heard my little speech. I know I'm pretty famous for giving them around here, that this is a $50+ million project being built in the city of Washington by a reputable, #1 rated city contractor, WIMCO, using dozens of city residents, citizens, employees, of subcontractors within the city during the 18-month build period, because that's what we anticipate, an 18-month build period. The side economic benefits to the city will be tremendous, but most importantly than all those facts would be what you were touching on, Ms. Booth. 800 students will be 800 students, kindergarten, pre-K, and first graders, and second graders, and third graders that live in the city of Washington will be provided with a more secure and safe school. And that is that not what I explained today to them? That is almost word for, matter of fact, I know it's word for word because I wrote it down because I wanted to make sure they heard it. And I can just assure you, you say you can't believe it. All I can say, Ms. Booth, is believe it.
Let me ask you, as far as the bids we've received so far, I know this is just pull a figure from the sky. Some of you are more familiar with this than I am. The cost of materials,
We don't know at this moment, and I know where you're going, and we're.
but how much could it be?
Can I address that?
I'm not looking for anything exact.
I don't, there's no number to put there, but the actual good news of that is, over the last 24 months, the cost of materials are going down, not up.
So I don't know how to say that until we get in there Thursday, and then we'll update the board from there.
So there will not be a new meeting as we had previously scheduled for Thursday?
No. I do need to make a motion, though. I move that we proceed with reorientating and redesigning the new K-3 school to align with Pennsylvania Avenue.
Second.
We don't have much choice.
Why do we need to do that now? I'm sorry.
Because I gotta have a motion to give Jimmy the direction to let's go ahead and do it and orient it. And our attorney said that we had to do it. Got a motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Moving to 5.2. Field trip approval, Dr. Cheeseman?
Northside High School FBLA State Conference and Competition, March 19th through the 22nd, 30 male students, 2 male adults, 30 female students, 2 female adults, activity buses, their form of transportation.